If you've just been diagnosed with prostate cancer and landed here to get some information, we're going to talk about the first 5 things you need to know right away. Let's do it. My name's Jason. I'm 54 years old, and at 52, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer prostate cancer that had metastasized to my spine. On this channel, we talk about it. You're probably overwhelmed. There's a flood of information out there. There's lots of different sources. There's lots of different things out there. So one of the issues I had was getting my feet under me, figuring out where to start. And I've been doing this for 2 years now, dealing with prostate cancer, and I put them all together here. So step 1, find the right doctor. This was something I got lucky with my doctor. My radiation oncologist turned out to be he was new to the area, but he'd come from a really good hospital. He knew what he was doing. But you're not going to always have the right doctor right there with you. Look for a team with real experience in prostate cancer. A lot of men with prostate cancer will travel. They'll go to a Mayo Clinic in Minnesota. Dr. Kwan is one of the best in the country. I think he is the best in the country. I think he's renowned to be the best one. There's Dr. Scholl's down in California. Seattle has several oncologists that are fantastic, whether they're radiation oncologists, gerontology oncologists, or medical oncologists. There's a bunch all across the country. I've got a friend, Adam. He traveled to New York. He's traveled to Texas. He lives in Florida. You want to find the right doctor. Look for a team with real experience. This is true especially if you're facing advanced or high-risk disease. What that means is you have done so your PSA came up. You've done a biopsy, presumably, and they tell you have cancer. Okay, this is where you need to look for other doctors to get other opinions, because they're going to start talking to you about surgery. They're going to start saying, hey, let's get this thing out. And yet you don't know if it's where it's at in your body. What I mean is it could have metastasized. So you need further scans, and you need a doctor that pushes for further scans. So if your doctor is immediately pushing for surgery without doing any additional scans, whether it's a CT with contrast or a PET scan is the ideal, then switch doctors. Find a new doctor. Don't just live with the doctor that is closest. And yeah, you can switch doctors. You can switch doctors if you're not getting clear answers. That's something people often learn a little too late, which sucks. And yeah. All right. Step 2, you have to understand your treatment options. Learn the basics of what's on the table. You do the biopsy. That's usually done by a urologist. And that urologist does the biopsy, sees cancer. He's going to grade it with a Gleason score. That's 2 numbers, a primary and secondary. If your primary is 3, so a 3 plus 3 or a 3 plus 4, you have an option to do something called active surveillance. That's just understanding, okay, there is cancer that's starting to grow in my prostate, but I don't need to do anything with it right away. And what that means is you could go 3 months, do another PSA test, go 6 months, do another PSA test. You can do active surveillance. But one of the mistakes men make when doing active surveillance is they think that just means kicking back and waiting for the next PSA test. Don't do that. It means a lot of tests. It means going out for your biomarkers, going out for your DNA tests. It means trying to find if there is something about your DNA, about your cancer, if there's any markers that indicate, hey, there's this specialized treatment. Because some men have specialized, or I guess not as popular, I don't know the right word, it's still morning time, have cancers that are higher risk or have certain markers in them that say, hey, we've developed a specialized treatment for this. And that's a good situation to be in. So while doing active surveillance, do those other things. Now, if your first number is a 4, so 4 plus 3 or 4 plus 4, you're likely not going to do active surveillance. Then the urologist is going to start pushing for surgery, and he's going to say, hey, let's do some surgery. Well, that is an option. A lot of men choose that. Now, that comes with side effects. Another option is you can do radiation, and that radiation comes with side effects, and the side effects between radiation and surgery are different, and you have to ask your surgeon, which is probably your urologist, what those side effects are, and tell them to be specific, and then go get another opinion from a radiation oncologist and get those side effects. And then you write them down and you compare and you say, okay, I'm willing to live with this side effect. I'm not willing to live with this side effect, and you figure it out. Yeah, so you can do surgery, you can do radiation, and that's probably what's on the table. Don't make a decision right away. I talked about it in another video. You're going to be in a state of shock when you get this initial news. And the other thing you have to ask for at this moment, when you're trying to understand your treatment options, is has the cancer spread? Get a PET scan, get a CT with contrast, get a bone scan, get anything that they can do to image your body to see if it has spread anywhere else. Because like me, the surgeon was like, okay, you're young, it's probably not spread, let's do surgery. I was like, And I went and talked to a radiation oncologist, and he said, well, let's do a PET scan and see if it has spread. And so we did a PET scan, and sure enough, it had metastasized to my spine, which means I would have gone through surgery and had all those side effects and still had to do radiation anyway and still have those side effects. Don't double up on the side effects. So another treatment option is hormone therapy. Oh, and to back up, radiation, there's lots of different types of radiation out there. There's EBRT, SBRT, so there's external beam radiation, there's focused beam radiation, there's proton radiation. There is a lot of radiation options you'll need to talk to your radiation oncologist about. So the other treatment option, one that I'm going through, is hormone therapy. They're going to talk to you about ADT and hormone therapy. And what that means is androgen deprivation therapy. What they have found is a successful way of treating cancer. It's brutal, but it's successful, is to reduce a man's testosterone down to near zero. Okay? What that means is taking drugs that take your testosterone away. That's going to mean losing muscle mass. That's going to mean hot flashes, fatigue. You're going to go through menopause symptoms. And it's going to take you're going to have to be active about fighting those side effects. I wasn't as proactive as I should have been, and am suffering a little bit from those consequences. But yeah. All right, step 3. Let's move on. So understand your treatment options. Step 3, you need to ask for a second opinion. And this might mean talking to 2 urologists, right? And then also talking to 2 radiation oncologists, or a radiation oncologist and a medical oncologist. If you're going to go through hormone therapy, you're going to be talking to a medical oncologist. Ask for a second opinion. This will not piss off your doctors. If they roll their eyes or act any kind of way about you getting a second opinion, you need a new doctor. My experience is that the good doctors will promote for you to go get a second opinion. A second opinion contains your treatment plan. It can open up clinical trials. This is something I asked for. I ended up, I'm up in Washington State. I'm down in the Tri-Cities, and I pushed and said, I want to know if there's other things out there. And they said, well, if you go to a treatment hospital, the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center, and talk to one of their doctors, they may have a clinical trial for you. They may have something for you. And my doctors locally here, they won't know those things. So you have to go talk to another doctor. And that can give you a lot of peace of mind. It did me. I went to the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center. He aligned with my current plan of treatment. He said, hey, what you're doing is doing good. He says, you went after this aggressively, and yeah, keep doing what you're doing. Even recommended, hey, maybe you could take a break from the hormone therapy, so which is on the table for me. So make sure you get a second opinion. Another one, I've hinted at this before. Make sure you're tracking your health. Start a notebook or a digital file. I have a little iPad, and I use GoodNotes, and I started writing everything down. So I have a prostate cancer GoodNotes folder, and I have notebooks in there, and I I keep my PSA numbers, my scan results, all my symptoms, because when you're going through this, your memory will not be reliable. You're going to be in shock. You're going to hear things. Your doctor's going to say things. You're going to hear them one way in the office, and you're going to remember them a different way when you get home. Write things down. And then when these doctor visits, they're not happening day to day to day, back to back. They're happening a week later, 2 weeks later, sometimes 2 or 3 months later between visits. And so during that time, write down your symptoms, write down any side effects, and write down your questions, because I'll promise you, when you get to the doctor's office, you are not going to remember those questions if you don't write them down. Don't rely on your memory. Bring this with you to every single appointment so that you can talk through everything. And if they're not listening, get a new doctor. Finally, build a support network. This can be a support group, an online forum, or just 1 or 2 people that can handle the raw truth. You may not want everybody to know, and that's okay. I told everybody. I'll tell people on the street. I don't care. That doesn't mean everybody needs to. This is a very personal thing, and you need to. But you do need 1 or 2 people that can walk down this road with you. It could be a significant other. It could be a sibling. It could be a child. It could be somebody close to you that you can trust with this information, because you need an outside perspective. You need a sounding board to bounce things off of. And a lot of people think, well, I don't need the sympathy. I don't need a cheerleader. That's okay. And that's what you need to tell this person, whoever you invest this information in, is, hey, I don't need a cheerleader. Maybe you do need a cheerleader. Whatever you need to tell them what you need, because people that aren't going through this, that you share this information with, they're going to struggle with how to respond, right? A lot of people understand, hey, there's lots of people out there with cancer. I know somebody with cancer, but when they're close to it, that changes their perspective, and they may not be comfortable with this. And ask them, hey, are you comfortable with this? Because I need somebody to talk to. And find a support group. Get online. There's tons. ZeroCancer.org has a page where you can go and search for support groups in your area. And if there isn't one in your area, there are lots of online ones. One of the best ones I can recommend is called thereluctantbrotherhood.org. Thereluctantbrotherhood.org. No spaces, just all. Check out the Reluctant Brotherhood, right? That's what we're in. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. If you have prostate cancer, you're entering this with, you've got a long road ahead of you. This is the long fight. But you don't have to go into it blind. You don't have to go into it alone. So don't just, the worst thing you can do is not do anything and not talk to anybody. So talk to somebody, please talk to somebody, and write down these steps and start writing down everything. So if you're facing this, if you're facing prostate cancer, I'm sorry you're here. I appreciate you watching the video. Drop a comment. Tell me what's helping you right now. What was the first thing that went through your head, and what did you do about it? And if this helped at all, share, subscribe, like. Let's keep each other going. I love you all.